Welcome to this week's episode of Real Talk. We're going again to the other side of the world to speak to Angela, who is calling in from Taiwan. She's the class of 2017 and found herself living in the great state of Texas during her exchange, even though she was dead set on California. Angela's going to share all about her exchange and how it's changed her and turned her into the person that she is today. We'll be right back with Angela. Welcome to this week's episode of Real Talk. We have Angela joining us all the way from Taiwan. It is your evening and our bright sunny morning. Welcome to Real Talk. I am so happy to chat with you again. You are the class of 2017 and you spent your year in Texas, the good old south of the US. Why did you want to go on exchange to begin with?
Because by the time I was gonna be an exchange student, I just graduated from high school and I wanted to take a year off and just go out there and see another whole new world and just be like American student probably.
Which is where you're calling from now, your dorm room, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
Where did you, because we were talking about this a little bit ago, where did you actually want to go on your exchange? You have a very funny interest that one is, what is that?
So I was obsessed with this basketball team, Golden State Warriors, and they're in California. So I was hoping to get chosen in California, but I ended up being chosen in Texas, which is like the best thing ever, I think.
How did you even find this basketball team in all the way at home in Taiwan?
Oh, so my brothers and my dad, they all play basketball, and so they watch basketball too, and they also play video games. So sometimes I play with them, and then just one day I found out that there's this guy on the team, and he's like so good at basketball, and I just became a super fan.
I just think it's fantastic when you guys come on exchange to the US and are like obsessed with an American sports team. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But you ended up in Texas, and did you even know Texas was a state before you made it?
I think I only like whenever people speaking of Texas, I just think of cowboys and some stuff that just because I've never been there and everything.
So I'm not really sure if you saw cowboys, but once you got there, what was it actually like?
It was like so Texas is a very big state. I think like I mean America is big, but Texas is like very big out of all the states. And I've only been to some part of Texas, but I think it's good because it's not like Taiwan, because Taiwan's like a big city and just very crowded and everything. But Texas is it's more kind of like countryside, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot more space for the people that live in Texas than there is
Yeah.
in Taiwan. Where did you grow up in Taiwan?
I grew up in Taoyuan, Taiwan, right next to Taipei.
So that's a massive difference. Actually, like, I can't really think of many places that's a bigger cultural shock between like metropolitan, super crowded Taiwan to Texas. Yeah. What was the beginning of your exchange year like, transitioning from sort of your home to this new place that you were trying to make into a home?
For me, the biggest challenge at the beginning would be talking to people in English, because we study English, we read it, but we don't use it every day, like in our own country and everything. So for the first 1 or 2 months, I was struggling about speaking English and just communicate with people in English, because it's not what I'm very good at when I was still in Taiwan. But then I got I got used to it, and I talked to my host family like every day. I share things with them and everything. And I started to talk to people in school. And yeah, so all my friends, they were like, after we've known each other for like a couple months, they were like, why are you so loud? You were so quiet when you first got here. And we were like, It's just very funny because I didn't know how to talk to people when I first got there.
So, what was your first day of school like then? I mean, you just mentioned your friends, but when it came to making friends, what was that like in the beginning, not being confident in English?
I went to the same high school with my host sister, and we are very close, and so we go to school together. So she kind of she told me like where all the classrooms are. So first day of school I would tell my teacher that I'm an exchange student, so I might not be able to understand everything you say, but I'll try my best and everything. So I try to like introduce myself to other people to let them know who I am. Just yeah. So if I have any like difficulties in anything, so I can reach out to them and everything.
And what did you do outside of just classes? Because I know that you also try to get involved and do new things as you were learning English.
I was in color guard, and we're kind of like marching band, but we don't play instruments. We kind of like we dance and we toss and spin rifles and
Well, not
just
real rifles, right? They're like,
yeah,
yeah, okay. Just in case you were curious.
for performances.
Yeah, they're not real. And what else did you do besides color guard, winter guard?
When I'm not like practicing and everything, I just hang out with all the people I know from color guard because they're like my second home in America.
That's so special. That's so cool, and I'm sure they miss you tons on the team. What about? Yeah, it's been 2 years. I don't even know. Well, 2 years since you got here, so 1 year since you've been home. What about your host family, your first home in America? What was it like when you first met them and didn't know a ton of English and didn't know who they were and showed up in Texas? What was that like?
It was so awkward because I remember my flight when I got to Dallas. It was very late. It was like past 12 o'clock or something, and I was so exhausted from just the flight. And they're like, okay, now we're gonna take a picture, and I was holding a sign and it said, "Welcome to Texas, Angela," but I had no idea who they are. It was very funny, but yeah. And then we try to like I tried to introduce myself in the car, but I was so tired. So I think I fell asleep probably.
What were the first few days like when you were awake? Walking around the house, interacting with them. Was it like super easy breezy at first, or were there some awkward moments?
There were like a ton of awkward moments, especially for me and my host sister because we shared a room.
Oh wow.
So we see each other like all the time, but we don't know what to say to each other at the very beginning.
But how are things now? I mean, if you look back, you can probably laugh at the beginning with her.
Oh yeah, things are very good now. I still talk to my host sister. Like we FaceTime and everything, and we text each other when when we miss each other. Because I miss her so much. Because I used to see her all the time.
I don't know if I realized that you were that close to your host sister. That is so cool. Like so cool. Do you remember the first time you dreamed in English?
I think it's somewhere around the end of September or October.
Wow.
Cause I mean, when I went to America, then I kind of told myself that I should stop using my own language because I'm only here for like a year. So I want to be like, I want to be, I want to fully experience the whole thing and everything. So
That's amazing.
it's cool.
But the first time that it came in English in your brain must have been amazing.
I know.
And your English, I mean, you from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year, even when you were in Boston, to now, is just so cool. Like, you obviously put so much work in to feel confident in just speaking and going at it, because in the beginning, I think you were a little more timid as you were learning. And if any of you have questions for Angela about making this trip of a lifetime and making it worth it, changing your life, you can leave your comments below, and I'm sure she'll get back to you. Sometimes great things happen when we just give ourselves a chance and when we work hard at it. So make sure you join us next week for another episode of very honest, raw, and real exchange stories from students just like you right here on Real Talk.